Welcome to Swaggerized Performance Lab, the art and nuance of sport, the 10 signs of an elite football mindset. Getting right to it. I'll give you the first three up front. Right away, a blown play doesn't show up on the very next snap. You're able to move on from that last play, learn from that last play. Specifically for folks that play the defensive back positions, that play the cornerback positions, you have to have a short memory. You have to have an extremely short memory, but you have to learn from all the previous plays. You have to learn from the offensive sets. You have to learn from the types of route, the position and where receivers lined up, where they are in relationship to the hash, where they are in relationship to the line of scrimmage, what do they do when they release? What did they do that last time? So you have to be critical in learning from it, but also you can't let the last snap affect your play. Number two, they take coaching in front of the whole huddle, in front of the team, in front of anyone without flinching. They can get correction out loud in front of teammates to where there's an accountability that's being built. It doesn't threaten their standing. I remember I had a defensive back coach early on. His name was Fred Blyle, and he was my coach my freshman and sophomore year of college, and he would curse me out. And I started as a freshman, and he would berate me in front of the team. He was tough on me, but those were some of my best years. I ended up having 5 interceptions my first year due to accountability, but also due to a coach that was fully invested, not only in the team's success, but in my success. And so I think one of the things that built trust is I never flinched in the face of hard coaching. I never flinched. So you can't flinch. And number three, elite football mindset. Folks with that mindset, they don't chase social media. Social media. They're not chasing this external validation because that will make you do things that are outside of being in the present moment. You know, a big play doesn't turn into this main character energy. Or there's all of a sudden this new validation, this new media coverage, this new, social coverage that you're getting. It doesn't turn into an identity, and you become that character that has been externally created rather than the football player, the athlete that's built excellence on his work ethic, dedication, and being physically fit and having a true intellectual football sports IQ. Number four, they can break down film with honesty. They can watch the good plays. They can watch their own tape. They can point to mistakes without needing someone to say it, meaning they're not trying to hide their mistakes. Number five, the locker room pecking order doesn't change how hard they compete. Whether they're QB1, third string, starter, backup, they're able to hold themselves accountable. Much like you're seeing in, Shedeur Sanders, who has went through a variety of different challenges and media coverage, but yet he stayed focused on the right things, on preparing himself to be a better quarterback, while also accepting the responsibility of someone that's very visible and navigating that landscape with a vigilance and an excellence and an integrity. Number six, they're completely confident in the offensive scheme or defensive scheme, and whatever the coach calls doesn't matter. Meaning coaches, they're not going to have the game plan perfect. It's up to players to execute. Sometimes you may be in a coverage that is not fit for the offensive scheme. specifically as like a defensive back where you could be in some zone coverage, some half coverage, some two-man coverage where you're lined up covering the flat, but then all of a sudden you have, and that's been a hard call, meaning that the coach doesn't want it to change. So it could be two zone hard or, zone hard where we're not going to change this no matter what the offensive lineup is. For whatever reason, something may be happening up front that they want to do. And then all of a sudden on your side of the field, you have multiple receivers that are flooding your zone, that are going to flood it in deep, that are going to flood it, that are stretching. And you have to figure out, okay, how do I adjust? How can I not just blame it on the coach, but how can I adjust? How can I make the football play? How can I make sure that this is not a big play while still honoring what the coach wants? So it's difficult to do, but that's where you don't make excuses. Whatever play is called, you're able to hold yourself accountable, because at the end of the day, the score matters. And what happens on the field, you control. I wasn't someone that would break a coach's play. I don't believe in that, but I do believe in adjustments. Sometimes you have to, in certain situations where it could potentially cost a touchdown, there's an adjustment that needs to be made, a football play that needs to be made that you have to adjust to. And you can't come to the sideline and just say, well, the coach called this. Some people may disagree with it, but at the end of the day, the score is what matters. And then at the end of the day, the coach is able to hold you accountable, but it wasn't a touchdown. It wasn't a big play that happened. So you can't, and I'm not telling you to break calls, but what I'm saying is you have to execute what the coach calls. Number 7, you can line up on a variety of different athletes. You can face a variety of different odds, but your confidence is unshakable. So you have your defensive scheme, but then you also have your opponent. Who are you facing and who are you unshakable? People talk about, there's the big receivers, right? Say for example, the Randy Mosses, the Terrell Owens, right? Your man, the Julio Jones, the Megatrons, right? Those guys are so obvious. But then you may line up against a dude and his name may be Eddie Kennison or someone like that runs a 10-100, a 10 flat 100. And nobody's touching that. When you see that, that's a whole type of different athlete. And you have to face this with unshakable confidence, knowing that this guy that you lined up across is different than the different. He's doing something even different than Terrell. He's doing something even different than Randy. So how do you manage that with unshakable confidence? You have to be able to line up against whoever your opponent and have unshakable confidence. And that's you. And you only know that in how you react in those situations. Number 8, how you handle success with a steady vigilance, right? Can you handle success being vigilant to your craft, honoring yourself, staying in the weight room, staying in the film room, doing the little things, eating right, rest, everything, keeping your mind right, staying humble, what that means is knowing who you are in your position to the Creator, understanding that there is something bigger than yourself, but at the same time, you've been created and given certain gifts, right, that you've nurtured. And now it's up to you to honor those gifts. Playing with the vigilance at all time. Number 9, you're able to improve with or without the money, with or without the NIL money, with or without the validation. You're consistently, your play improves. And one of the most important things you'll see, no matter what, is coaches and players will have a great deal of respect for your work ethic. No matter if people like you or dislike you, they'll respect that ethic. These are the 10 signs of an elite football mindset. I'm Mr. Smith with Swaggerized Performance Lab, the art and nuance of sport. If you like what you're hearing, subscribe, push like. If you want more, check out Swaggerized iOS training app. It is an Apple emerging app selection. And this provides you with custom workouts tailored to your specific lifestyle. You have timers for a variety of different sports that allow you to time your movements, time your tests, your 40 times, your 10-yard sprint times, your cycling times, right? You're able to time to get in real time certain movement patterns. You can compare. There's a quad view. There is a dual view. Additionally, you have NIL and financial education sections with an AI assistant. This is an incredible app. It is an elite performance staff, Olympic level staff in the palm of your hand. I'm Mr. Smith with Swaggerized Performance Lab, the art and nuance of sport, and I'm out.